All right. So now what we're going to do is those are kind of top level elements. We're going to be talking about more inline elements, and it's going to be used to stylize different pieces of text or content. So the first one we're going to be talking about is the I tag. It is literally the letter I. And all it means is if you put a word or even just a character inside of it. So as you can see, this is now an I element, and it wraps around the word div. What's going to happen is the word div on here is going to appear italicized, which means it's kind of slanted to the right. Along the same lines, a B element, we just wrap the word different here. B means bold, and it's going to make the font very heavy. It's going to make it thicker, as you can see. The next element we're going to be using is a P element, and this is a block element. So it's more like a div, and it's kind of a replacement for a div. Let's say you have, the need for a paragraph. And this is a series of words, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just going to copy and paste this a bunch of times so that we can see a really big element and how it wraps. So if I refresh this, you will see that this is now a block element. It is the full width of the page. And then if we copy it, the entire line, I'm going to remove that other span element. And I put that here underneath it, and I'm going to scroll left so you guys can see this a bit better. I'm going to save this. Now we have two paragraphs, and what should happen is they will display with the space of a single line between the two. So that's what a paragraph does. It adds space above and below each P element, which helps it read more like paragraphs. Now, in contrast, if you were to do that with a div, there is no space between, there's no space between, vertically between the div elements, unless you specify it. And we're not into that yet because that is CSS. So those are some inline elements, and there is one more that I want to show you guys, and that is the A element. And what that does is creates a link. So let's save this and refresh. Did I save this? Maybe we actually need to put an href. So a link on its own doesn't do anything. What you need to do is add a property. So far we've learned about elements, and they're very simple. You just open the element, put text or content or an image or whatever within the opening and closing tags. What you can also do is specify properties. And how you do that is within the opening tag here. So I'm going to do it for the A element. You put a space, and then you type the name of the property you want to set. And this can change the appearance or functionality of certain elements. And we'll be visiting this more in the future. What we're going to do is add href, which means hypertext reference. So if this is a link, basically, it needs to point somewhere. After the property name, you put an equal sign and then quotations. There's a bit of code completion. Notice when I opened quotations, it closed it for me and put the cursor right in the middle. So what we need to do at this point is tell the A element what it is linking to, so that when someone clicks it, this property is responsible for getting them to that page. So for now, just http google.com. I'm going to save this and refresh, and now you see this looks like a link, and if you click on it, you'll see it takes you to google.com. So you can put any web address here. You can even put no web address. If you just want to have a link that doesn't go anywhere, you can just put a number sign there within the quotations. And that's setting the value of the property href to the number sign there. And then if you click it, it doesn't go anywhere, but it does add this to the URL. And we're going to be discussing this more later. That's a more advanced concept, I think. And we're going to be discussing it later. Right now, just know that if you need a URL or if you need a link on a page without actually making it go somewhere, that's how you do it. Or I think you can even do this, and that will just go to itself. So again, in this video, we learned some single character elements, like the I element, which italicizes text, the B element, which makes that text bold, the P element, which is kind of like a div. It's full width. It's a block element, but there's space above and below it. And then we also learned about creating links. And as you guys noticed, I didn't specify, but you guys have noticed, whatever is between the opening and closing tags of the A element is what the link consists of. And this is kind of obvious because every other element follows the same. So yeah, and we also learned about a property, and we're going to be getting more into these later. I first want you guys to be comfortable with everything else I'm teaching you. And if you don't feel like you're getting it yet, don't worry, because we're going to be doing a lot of this. And I'm a firm believer that by doing, you learn. So let's continue.